From One of One Production Studios, broadcasting from NYC, you are listening to Unexpected Success with your host, Joy.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Unexpected Success with me, Joy. Today in the studio, I have the legendary Eddie Lau. Hey, Eddie.
Hey, Joy. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm
Good.
fantastic as you're here. For those of you who don't know Eddie Lau, which I can't imagine are many people, but Eddie Lau is a lifelong basketball enthusiast, a coach, a mentor, the master connector, by far one of the most resourceful people that I've ever met. And I can honestly say it has been a privilege to have Eddie Lau in my life. And that comes from the heart. And you know it's true. And I'm never going to say it again, punk. So just don't. But welcome to the studio. Welcome to the studio,
Thank
Eddie.
you. Likewise.
Thanks for agreeing to do this. I know this is kind of like outside of your things that you do. So,
Well, for you, I'll do
hey,
it. You know
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
So Lau. So, I don't know. I mean, I've known you for years, but there's certain things that I just have no idea about how you started in the basketball game, right? So, where are you from?
Well, I'm originally from Lower East Side, which
In Manhattan, right?
Lower Manhattan.
Okay.
Which is culturally diverse.
Right.
I mean, now it's beautiful where everybody want to live
beautiful
down there.
now, yeah.
When I was growing up, I don't think you want to be there.
Yeah. Well, describe it. I mean, you hear about the old 42nd Street, but how was LES back in the days?
I mean, I think LES is more really, like when I say culturally diverse, it came from a lot of immigrants.
Right.
To be honest with you. A lot of people that first just moved from either Asia or Puerto Rico, or wherever it is, wherever
Right.
they're coming from. This is like the first generation of their parents is just coming there and non-speaking people, to be honest with you.
Right.
And everybody's working hard, and to say in a good way, it's the ghetto.
It's the hood.
It's the
It's
ghetto.
the hood. All right.
It's the ghetto within all cultures.
Right.
So you have Chinatown, you have Little Italy, you have the projects,
Right.
you have the Irish and Italian people in the back. You know what I mean? So it seemed like they just do all the cultures and all
In this one space.
One space. And
Which is kind of dope when
Which
you
it-
think about it now, right?
Yes.
But it might not have been dope then.
back then, everybody's fighting for this.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? I don't think anybody down there would. I mean, if they were racist, but I don't think they were really so out there, because I think we had to figure that out to get along with each other.
Right,
You know?
right. So everyone was different. Now, were you first generation, or were your parents first generation?
We were first generation.
Okay.
We were first generation. My mom is actually half Puerto Rican, half Chinese.
Okay.
And my dad's 100% Chinese.
Okay.
From China.
Do you ever go back to China?
The last time I actually been there was when one of my close friends, Ray for Austin,
Right.
they call him Skip
Skip.
Tumalu. Yep.
Skip.
And when he was playing in China.
Okay.
So that's the last time I've been back to China.
How long ago was that?
Wow.
And did you visit your family there, or did you just were you just involved with basketball?
Well, my uncle lives in this farm. It's far away from where we was at in Beijing, and there was really no time to visit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and I don't think I was really trying to visit out there in the farm area. But it's been a while. I think.
I mean, basketball is huge in China right now.
Oh, it's big.
Isn't Stephon like the coach now?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Does that blow your mind that Steph is like?
It blows my mind because me, Stephon, and Rafa were all on the same team with little kids.
Wow.
And I'm talking about 11, 12 years old.
Wow, that's
Yup.
crazy.
And
I would love to see pictures of that.
I wish I had pictures too.
Oh man.
But I have a picture when he first signed his N1 deal. And then looking back at it, I remember when he first got down with Brooklyn USA. That's the name of our team. And he first got down, and everybody's like it's like a lottery ticket. Everybody's like, oh, Stephon Marbury's on a team, and this, that, and the third.
That's crazy.
But being the same age as him and competing, we were all young.
Yeah.
Like, fuck is him.
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
I'm gonna bust his ass
Yeah.
in practice. And to look back at it, I mean, everything about him, he was a pro.
And you knew it?
Not really back then. As I got a little older, and I'm like, wow.
Well, now you look you see what people look for, right? In terms of like the magic, right? That kind of intangible,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, he worked hard. I just think it was just all his brothers that didn't make it.
Right.
That was older than him that didn't make it. He was the one. He was the one that was going to make it.
It's crazy because I used to, I don't even know if you knew this about me, but I used to cut school. Sorry, Mom. I used to cut school to go to Rucker to see Skip.
Right.
Because there was nobody more entertaining than Skip. And when Skip was about to play,
right,
we would be climbing up the fence.
That's true.
To just watch Skip.
Right.
And like it was crazy. So when he actually went to the NBA, it was like everyone felt like you knew him.
Right.
I felt like I knew Skip because I was cutting school like week to week just to see him play.
Well, I think that's the difference between Rafa, Skip,
right,
compared to Stephon Marbury. Growing up, all the kids play in outdoor tournaments.
Right.
But I think Skip, I know he had a different route than Stephon.
Right.
Stephon actually went from Lincoln High School to Georgia Tech freshman year and won the ACC and left and got drafted, high pick.
Yeah.
Rafa, which hurt him a little bit, his academic, in high school he wasn't really strong.
Okay.
And he didn't really focus on school like he's supposed to. So he had to go a different route and went to the junior college route. And he had to go all the way out to California.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And then he left his element. So you kind of lose that.
Yes. But and what bring Rafa, I mean, they're both special, but what bring Rafa was so special was that, I didn't know nothing about Rucker Park.
Right.
And here goes back to basketball. That's what I'm saying. Basketball been great to me. Met a lot of great friends, including yourself. And, every job I got was do basketball. And with Rafa, when we both was young, we both obviously didn't have no money.
Right.
And we used to share money left and right.
So how did you guys become friends? Is Rafa from LES also?
No, Rafa is from Queens, South Jamaica, Queens, 40 projects.
Yo, shout to Rafa.
Oh, here we
Queens.
go, this Queens thing again. But at one point, he was living in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And so he used to meet me in back of the F train. There's no cell phones, guys. Remember, there's no cell phones. Just screaming out the window or call the house phone certain time, and you never know who's eavesdropping. So you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So excuse me, and Rafa, we all went to camp. How about this one? When I first met Rafa, we all went to Carnesecca and Sarachek camp.
Oh, that's crazy. And
Carnesecca and Sarachek, Isaac Carnesecca's Lou Carnesecca that played for coached at St. John's University.
He's my daddy's coach.
Yes.
Yeah. And
the reason how we went to that camp was because a guy got called, it's like my godfather, it's like my uncle, Jason Williams.
Right.
He's from Lower East Side. And
I love Jason Williams, obviously, too, yeah.
Yes, so whenever my parents had to work two jobs, they had two jobs, they worked morning shift, night shift. Be honest with you, I was outside. While my brother was studying, I was outside running around, nothing crazy, but just outside, just want to be outside all the time. And and Jason's mom called me one night and was like, "What are you doing?" And this I was young. I was probably 11 years old, out like 12 o'clock, 12:30 in the morning in front of the projects, hanging out with my friends, thinking I'm cool. And she
nothing changed.
So she asked, out of all the kids, and mind you, I don't know her.
Right.
It's a white lady, but she's Irish.
Right.
So she's like, she grabs me out of everybody. So I'm like, "Who the hell are you?" Like, she's like, "So what are you doing?"
I didn't know Jason was biracial.
Yes, my dad is from South Carolina. But make a long story short, she grabbed me. She was like, "Why are you out so late?" And I was just telling her, I just want to be outside. So that night, I think it was the start of the beginning of my relationship with Jason's mom and Jason. And the next night, she invited me to dinner. And I
love that. What an angel.
Yeah, exactly.
What an angel.
And out of all the kids, she really picked me.
But that's a divine moment. Like at that point, it's kind of like it changes your whole trajectory, right? Because now you hanging out with and Jason at that point, he wasn't playing at St. John's.
Jason
yet,
was at that point he was a senior in Christ the King.
Okay.
Senior Christ the King High School.
Okay.
And Jay was always humble, but Mom always had a bunch of kids in the neighborhood over there, and I consider her my mom. And I mean, she took care of us. So, but back to Corner Second and Sarachek camp, Jason obviously signed with St. John's, and he sent us to camp. He's like, man, you and my nephew, just go, get out of here, leave me alone. That type.
That's dope.
They go to basketball camp. He's like, okay. So we playing against it's me and this kid named Kareem Reed, who's actually pretty good too. And we wound up playing against Rafa in the game, and the whole time Rafa's crying about fouls. He's not getting no calls. So we kept messing with him when the referee wasn't looking. When the referee wasn't near him, paying attention. We'll cheap shot him playing around, and because we knew how to get him mad. He was always getting emotional mad. And that's how me and him got really, really close.
Oh, that's crazy. That's a dope story.
Nobody really asked about that, but that's how we really got close. And when camp was over the end of the week, I mean, it was like, he have a twin sister, Racine.
Oh, get out of here.
Yep, and it was just his birthday, July 24th, their birthday.
Happy birthday, Skip.
Yep. And every day we'll be on the phone till late at night. Next morning we'll catch the train. For a while when we started playing with Riverside Church also, I hate to tell this story, but for a while we when we have practice we go to the cafeteria and build the food to our coach, Mr. Ernie Loyce. And so for a while when we didn't have practice, me and Rafa would just go up to the cafeteria and eat and still build to the coach. And it's the honest truth. Till one day they finally found out, I was like, yo, who is keep doing this? And somehow
you had to eat, right?
Couldn't eat. We had to eat. That chicken, rice, and gravy was off the hook. And for a while. And so they finally caught me and Rafa.
Right.
They gave us this whole speech.
At the church?
So he's like, no, my coach sent us something. It's like, no, you don't have practice today. How you guys, like, yes, we do. We don't have practice. So me and Rafa look at each other like, let's get out of here. So
that's great.
No, this is like me, like, I grew up with a lot of people from Lower East Side, and I felt like me and Rafa's so close. I mean, it's like we inseparables.
Yeah,
like to this day, we talk all the time. His kids, my kids.
That's all. That's really dope.
Yep.
So okay. So it's like I feel like you kind of had a family outside of your own family, right? So you have like your true family, right? Do you have siblings?
I got older brother.
Older brother. Yep. Okay. And is he involved in basketball at all?
A little bit, but not like
you. So he took a different path.
He's smart. Yeah.
So
he read the books and every day, and that type. And I
right. And how do you guys get along? Did you guys always get along?
Great. But he just didn't understand some of the stuff I used to I do and stuff.
Right.
And
you're the baby too, so it's kind of like
So with him he's more quiet.
Right.
It's always studying, which I used to always get on, and I wish I would have did the same thing.
Well, no, I mean, I honestly feel like it's one of those things where you take your own path.
Right.
And you were built for this, Lau. Yeah. So it's like, you can go that way, but that's like, you could always go back to that.
Right.
You can't recreate. No one can recreate your life that you've built for yourself. So, you know what I mean? So, so that's dope. Does he have kids also?
Got two.
He has two kids.
Yeah,
okay, and you have two kids.
I got two.
Awesome. That's dope. And so they play together, or it's
my two kids, or my
both your niece and
my brother have two boys.
Two boys. So do your kids all play together?
They're older. Yeah. So
okay.
my oldest nephew graduated from Columbia, like my brother.
Holy cow!
Yeah, and then got his master's at Baruch, and now he's teaching in Hong Kong. Actually, right now, my oldest nephew.
I love it.
Yes, and my second nephew, who I'm very surprised, he's actually at FIT.
Wow.
He wants to get into the clothing industry and blah blah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So at an early age, the youngest nephew, he was actually doing stuff like almost like Flight Club, buying sneakers and selling it. Creates on website. Yeah. So he's on that kind of mentality. He's almost like me, being like school.
Yeah. No, it sounds like you're like little mini, little bit.
But he's different from his older brother.
Right. But I think a lot of times, like John.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Me and John are like night and day. We're not. You know what I mean? We're not. I'm the wild one. I'm the one that's doing crazy things. You know what I'm saying? And he's the one that's more straight and narrow.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
so that's just the kind of way things.
Yes.
things go.
Yes.
So okay, so when did you know that you were nice in ball?
Maybe maybe my junior year in college.
Wow, that long.
That long.
But
that
you
long.
can. But what made you stick with it? So I'm saying so. So you go to basketball camp. You're how old? You're 12.
I was 12.
Right.
I was 12.
And what was were they like, yo, dude is nice, or was it like, yo, he's
Nah, I'm not going to front like some people did. I was never really nice like that. You know what I mean? Rafa and Stephon. I was
right.
okay. You know what I mean? I was okay. But I was always real with myself.
Right.
You know
right.
what I mean? And I think also that's the problem with these kids, this generation. They're not real with themselves. And I always knew my friends were better than me.
Right.
So that's why I did what I had to do to kept working and kept getting better. But if you told me stay in the park, shoot from 8 a.m. to 12 at night, which a lot of times I did, you know,
wow.
I did. And
that's crazy, yeah.
But I put a lot of hours in there. I put a lot of hours in there. People don't realize. I'm telling my son this now. It's like there was no vacation. We didn't have no money to go vacation. We didn't have no money to go to Coney Island.
Right.
You know what I mean? My vacation was at the park. And I mean, I did everything at the park.
Right.
You know, but at first, you know, when I was young, I shot early before all the older guys came out, before Jason, all them guys came out, and I shot in the park. And when it was their time to come, it was time for me to watch.
Right.
And it was time for me to go to the store to go get drinks for them. I was an errand boy. That's how I made my money.
So yeah, so I guess at that point, so I guess what was your transition? So you go to high school, you went to Christ the King, right?
I went to Malloy, actually.
Oh, you went to Malloy, right.
I went to Malloy. So I actually took a total different path. People don't know. I was supposed to go to Christ the King because of Jason Williams. And when I decided to go to Arbisham Malloy, because of Orlando Mitchens, who was a former New York Giants football player.
Okay.
I think he's a college coach now for football. Kenny Anson's jersey, Kenny Anson, Kenny Smith, and all this stuff inside his office about basketball. And I'm like, that's the first thing I'm thinking about. Like, dang, this is where I need to be at.
Yeah.
And what really sealed the deal, people don't realize, is that Shandu McNeil, which is from Far Rockaway.
Ow.
Yep, Shandu McNeil was one of my Yep, one of my close friends, childhood friends on the basketball team when we was young, and Shan was going there.
No, I haven't. Yep. I have not seen Shan.
Yeah, and he doesn't age for sure. You know,
he looks the same.
Yeah.
Yo, I have not seen Shan. When you said his name, and I'm like, yo, I have not heard Shan's name in like probably 20 years. That's a lie. Because when we were hanging out, like I would talk to Shan.
Yeah, here and there. So that actually sealed the deal for me going to Malloy. And the way I went to Malloy, back then I think tuition was like $5,000. So we couldn't afford it, you know.
Right.
And I was playing for Riverside Church. And basically, I don't know why I say beg, but I kind of really sat down and was speaking to Mr. Lloyd about paying for my tuition. He was the coach, the co-founder of the basketball team. And he says, bring your brother down and let's sit down and talk. And we'll figure that out. And he paid my tuition. And so it was a blessing because there was a lot of great kids that came from that program, was older, was younger, and he actually paid my tuition. There was a lot of rumors about what he had done to kids in the past. He's dead now, but I was always thankful he paid my tuition. Right. If he didn't pay my tuition, I didn't know.
You don't know where you.
I would have went to the public school, and I would have figured out.
You would have figured it out, but your life would have been different.
It changed.
You know what I mean?
It changed.
So tell me how you go from, playing ball and then transitioning to the business of basketball. Like, how did that happen?
Well, how about this one first? Before that, I was a ball boy for the Knicks.
I didn't know that.
I was a ball boy for the Knicks.
How did you pull that off?
Well, there you go. Actually, Jason got me as a ball boy. I was doing it with his nephew, and we was ball boys for the St. John's, and St. John's played games at Madison Square Garden.
Right.
And one led to another. Jason and Charles Oakley are very, very close. And Jason was like, "Yo, and he always called me nephew. He said, can my nephews be a ball boy? Oh, hook it up." And,
that's dope.
And I wound up became a ball boy, and which was like, heaven.
Heaven.
I mean, I remember.
I'm a tennis enthusiast now, and I still apply to be like a ball girl for tennis, and I'm 42. So
That's beautiful.
Like that is like the best thing you could ever be.
Because you so the other two guys that was ball boys when we little kids was Mark Jackson's brother.
Oh wow!
Yeah, Troy Jackson. They call him Escalade, and unfortunately he passed away. And the Manhattan College head coach right now, Steve Masiello.
Wow, that's crazy.
We were all ball boys, and the coach at the time was Rick Pitino. I mean, I think God really had a plan. I didn't think so. At that time, I was just living the moment, right? Being a kid, being a ball boy in the '90s, which the Knicks was great.
Oh man,
you know what I mean?
That was like prime time,
right? And
we probably haven't had an exciting time for the Knicks like since.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm not even a Knicks fan no more. After Charles Smith got shot blocked so many times, I can't do it because the management.
I think in general. I mean, of course I'm diehard, but I think that the Dolan thing and the Charles Oakley thing.
Oh, it's embarrassing.
I think the Charles Oakley thing kind of did it for me.
Yeah.
A little bit, kind of like, because like ultimately, if you could do what you did to Charles Oakley, you would do that and like I have a bleeding heart for this team that you could have Charles Oakley carried out by security.
Right.
Like, are you like that? Right. So if that's who owns that team, I can't.
Right.
Because like he would throw me out.
Right. Well,
and then you heard about the fan that got thrown out for saying sell the team, and he like banned them. I'm like,
you don't do that.
He just has no respect. So I mean, I'm kind of with the Brooklyn Nets right now.
Right. So and don't think twice that Charles Oakley was not involved with the advice he gave Kevin Durant.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know what I mean? Because you gotta always remember the Knicks is the Mecca of New York.
Right.
So if the Brooklyn Nets win that battle with Kyrie,
it's a slap in the face. I mean, it's intentional, right?
Course.
And I think everybody knows it was intentional. It was kind of like, oh, okay, Dolan.
Yep.
You want to throw out my man?
Exactly.
Like it's a wrap.
Exactly.
And it should be that way.
Yeah.
You have to stand for something. So I mean, I'm proud of them.
Yeah.
I'm hard. I mean, part of me is kind of like, am I going to see another Knicks championship? Well, I never saw the first one.
Yeah.
But will I see one in my lifetime?
Right.
In the 90s, I would have been like, we gonna get it.
It was still good because they play hard. They got to the finals. You know what I mean? So you think you really have a chance every year.
Right.
But now you can't change management every year. You can't change. You can't go from trying to get the veterans free agency and then now you want to go young again. So it's like the plan. There is no plan.
Right.
And that's what's not going to help them.
Just wondering. So, did you ever encounter any hardship playing ball, being Asian?
Oh, all the time.
All the time.
So it's funny you say that because I love Jeremy Lin and I was rooting for him.
So Linsanity was crazy for any Knicks fan. Like Linsanity was probably the most memorable like recent times, exciting times because this kid just couldn't he gave us life.
Yes.
And then they traded him.
Right. I had an opportunity to sign him. And people don't realize it. He came out the same year as John Wall. Oh. Same draft year. And my agent that I was working for named Dan Fagan, who passed away, rest in peace. But Dan went to Ivy League, Yale. And when I mentioned him about Jeremy Lin, the first thing goes, man, nobody in Ivy League could play. And then second of all, he's Asian. He's Chinese, can't freaking play. So I'm like, Dan, he could play, trust me. And, make a long story short, he played really good against John Wall in the summer league. And then he was trying to go after him. Dan was trying to find a way to stop. It was too late. It was too late.
Well, yeah, he had his, but
it was too late. But he worked hard. And back to what I was saying even with the Knicks when he was playing, I mean, you couldn't write a script like that. And I had to. What's so funny is that I was actually at the game when they played the Mavericks, and Sean Marion left me tickets for. Actually, Jaden might have been really young, but I didn't. I wanted to witness it. I'm like, wow.
I never saw it.
Oh,
and I regret having never seen it.
Yes, and
like there was no period of time that was more exciting in recent times.
Right.
That's like 7 years ago. Yeah. But it was recent for us, right? But I mean, it was crazy.
But how about this? Cablevision was on strike or something like that. They were out.
Ah.
And he made it. He made the Knicks so exciting. They actually made the deal right away, so people could watch him play on cable.
I mean.
Yeah, and I mean it was big.
But then Dolan traded him.
Yeah, Dolan traded him, and
then I'm like, how you do that?
well, I think it's more also it's going to maybe probably some teammates probably not happy about it. It's more than that. So and then they trade him to another team, another trade, another team. It goes on and on. And like you said, he won a championship, NBA championship with Toronto Raptors. No Asians have ever done that. So
is he the first?
He's the first Asian that done that.
And it's so fitting, right? Yeah. Because it's like he got what he deserved at the end of the day.
Right.
I mean,
he's gonna be successful no matter what.
And he's smart too, right?
Very smart. Very smart. I believe he's Christian. Also, he's very smart, and I'm sure he have a plan right after NBA when it's over playing.
Sure.
And,
So Lau, you spend a lot of time talking about everybody else, but you keep on going to you like talking about everybody else, but you don't want to talk about shoes. Like
I don't as much, but I try my best. And
but okay, so I guess you were a ball boy, and then how did you transition to business?
Well, I mean, it's a whole long road. I never thought about working for an agent. To be honest with you. My thing was after I playing for college, I actually went to play in China and played in Taiwan. I played in Asia. Yeah, I wound up doing that, and then I wound up playing for not even like a month in Puerto Rico, and got waived and got cut. And then when I got back, it's a long story because when I actually played at Quinnipiac College, when they were just going Division I, and when I was a sophomore. Lamar Odom was a senior in high school, going to high school in Connecticut. I tell people the story all the time. It's funny. I reached out to Gary Charles, who was Lamar's AU coach, because he always said, listen, whatever you need, call me.
Right.
Because I know you helped me out with Lamar. And I reached out to a guy named Julius Allen, who recruited me to play at LIU in Brooklyn, Division I. Right over Lower East Side.
Right.
Division I.
Right.
So he recruited me, and I decided not to go there. I wound up going to Quinnipiac. So we remained friends, and I wanted to be a coach. So Julius Allen got a job in Louisiana, Lake Charles, Louisiana, called McNeese State University.
Yeah.
Okay. And he said, I get you a job, but it's not paying. You can live with me and my wife. I said, no problem. I was so thirsty to be a coach. I was so thirsty my next chapter. It's the honest truth. It's like, so I was in charge of all the film, breaking the film down, offense and defense. And back then, and he's telling my age, which is I have no problem, is VHS.
Right.
It was no DVDs.
Yeah.
So every time I pass a certain clipping and at the tracking number, and I miss it, I have to go back all the way back.
No, I remember.
That's right. There's no slow motion, whatever. Can't go back slow. And I did that, and I wound up going to school for free and got my master's.
Oh, that's dope. Master's in? What's your master's in?
In business.
Okay.
Right. And for food, I was eating at the Coach Allen's house.
Yeah.
Or I say this all the time. This is a will, there's a way. I used to scout football tickets. We had football tickets for our school.
Right.
And I used to scalp them to get my meal money.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
you've always been a hustler, right? And
survivor.
Listen, hustler, survivor, whatever you want to call it. But where does your confidence come from? Because I think that in general, if someone were to describe you, they would describe you as confident.
Right.
Right. And so where did it come from? Does it come from your parents? Does it come from it's your upbringing?
I just think that just overall, my parents, they have no high school diploma, no degrees, and they still found a way to make sure that we had food on the table, we had clothes, and was always positive and always kept pushing us. And even days I didn't like it, and they kept always pushing it, and always, I never heard. Besides one time when my dad said something to me, but otherwise, everything other times, he said you could do it. You could do it. And then I was fortunate to have a lot of older guys in my neighborhood that kept me away from trouble, and always took care of me. Always took care of me.
And your ability, I guess your upbringing is the reason why you're a survivor, right? Because I feel like you had to find different ways to make money to eat. I mean, you're literally trying to find money to eat.
Right.
And so when you started eating, because at some point, you fed me a few times. So, you know what I'm saying? At some point, likewise, you had made it past that point. And I guess you took on many different roles during that period, right? You were doing a lot of different things. But one thing is that you're very resourceful and you know everybody. Right. And I guess it happened because you were so involved with all of the pioneers and the original ball players.
I think what happened was that, in the beginning, it's just like everything else. You have to prove yourself.
Of course.
Even when I was working for Dan, like I said, I didn't want to work for an agent. I had no idea about that. I was actually introduced by Gary Charles. The coaching took forever. I wasn't playing for a legendary coach like St. John's or Duke. I didn't come from one of those family trees. Right. And it's going to take a long time. And I said, you know what? I'm not trying to do that. It's going to take too long.
Right, of course.
I don't mind doing something else. But, for now, I'm going to do AAU. And I always had 1,000,001 jobs, right? Because I had to work. Every job I had, I didn't even know that it led to something else, to another basketball. It would
always kind of just go on a rotation. So now that you're a dad, right, of 2 boys, right? God makes no mistakes. How do you teach them, right? Because it's like,
okay,
yeah. What do you teach them? Like, what are some of the key things you try to teach them?
Well, my value is always work ethic. Right. You know what I mean? You gotta outwork everybody. I don't care what you do. You gotta outwork everybody. You gotta always respect people. And the most important thing, if there's something you want to try it. If you make a mistake, so what? So the best feeling right now is I coach my son and his friends and his team, which is
that must feel so good.
11 under. It's good and bad some days, right? Because sometimes you're like, why you keep making the same mistake? But my number one rule is always on the court. If you make a mistake, offense, it's fine. Turnovers, missed shot, whatever it is. But you better get back on defense. Because if you don't get back, I'm subbing you out. Right. You know what I mean? I'm subbing you out. And that's just part of the game that you have to teach them. And my parents was never involved. They never went to one of my games ever in my life. And which is good and bad sometimes. I understand they have to work, but when I was young, I didn't understand that. Coming out of games, locker rooms, whether I play or don't play, my teammates' parent was there. They was there for their child. Right. But I never had that. That support system in that sense. I had a support system as
a person,
as a parent putting food on the table and clothes, but not at a game, right? In that kind of atmosphere.
So what's next for Eddie Lau in terms of because at this point in your life, you can do anything, right? Thank you. And that's the thing, right? So you can literally do anything. Mm-hmm. And I've never actually seen you fearful, right? Although I do think now that I used to be this. You and I we share that in common a little bit, but I think once you have children, you become a little more fearful because you just have more to lose. Right. If you lose, you're kind of like, man, I gotta keep this going.
2 things. It could be more than 2 things, but the one thing that always stood out to me was my kids. My oldest son is 11, right, and my second one is 7, right, and my youngest one have Down syndrome. Okay. So that kind of it had me removed from the aging game a little bit. I'm not as full-fledged like I was at one time. Also, because my agent that I was working for passed away 2 years ago. Right. So I kind of took a step back and really it's all about my family, my kids, of course, and the services that my youngest son needs. Right. So when we first met and for a long time, I used to travel back and forth from here to California. Yeah, you used to travel a lot. All over the place, right? Same thing for yourself. We young, we didn't have no kids. Right. But once you have kids, it's not about me no more. You know what I mean? I've been to the best parties. Right. I met the most beautiful
You
ladies
did
ever.
it
Yeah,
all,
we did
right.
everything.
You
You know what I'm saying?
right.
And for me to try to live that life again, that's not my life. So
Well, yeah, I mean, you have a path, right? And
Right.
so, when you have your son has special needs,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes you have to tap into that.
Right.
But then, in true Eddie Lau fashion, you get
Right.
super involved in trying to
Right.
raise awareness for Down syndrome,
right.
and I mean, it's such admirable stuff,
right.
man.
Well, you say by you saying that is crazy because last year we started first annual of softball game.
I'm coming to the second
Yeah,
annual, and
yeah,
I'm playing
yeah,
too.
yeah.
I'm
Okay.
putting my sneakers on.
Yeah.
Just don't put
We
the
got- we-
best picture on me. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
we're not gonna, trust me, and we're going to record it too. We recording
Yeah, no,
everything.
I'm doing it.
So if you strike out,
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, so
I like
but,
to cheat too. So if I have
Yeah.
to punch stuff, kick somebody or trip somebody on the way.
But we everybody have a great time. That's the
Yeah,
best
and
thing
I'm looking
about
forward
it.
to
And last year we did pretty good raising money.
Good.
And what we did, we raised the money, we give back to the school, and also we tried to my youngest son, believe it or not, he loved basketball more than I think myself and Jaden combined.
that's dope.
So he loves basketball, and I think everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And it brings back even we invite a lot of older guys from my neighborhood, guys who haven't been around for a long time and came back for that.
Yeah.
And I think that everything happens for a reason. Like I said, they all want to support Josiah for his Down syndrome cause.
amazing.
So, I mean, going back to what you're saying, I think my mission right now is my kids
Right.
and to help this young group, 11U, 12 and under, whatever it is, that age group that before they get to high school, to hopefully get scholarships for them.
Right.
If it's not through basketball, then maybe some kind of academic scholarship.
So I guess what advice would you give to like a young entrepreneur or young person that's trying to, become the next Eddie Lau?
A little different because my route was different. There was no, I didn't go to school for this.
Right.
I was fortunate at that time moment. I didn't realize it, but I was fortunate growing up in Lower East Side where it was culturally diverse, and you had to defend yourself all the time, and all the little stuff. It actually got me ready.
Well, you were scrappy.
Right. It got me ready for
Right.
my life.
Right. I mean, I think that you and I share that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The neighborhood I grew up in made me a little scrappy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I think that
Yes.
it wasn't a friendly neighborhood necessarily. So,
No.
but it equipped you with what
yeah.
you needed to navigate through the basketball world. So you still haven't really gotten to what you did in the basketball world
Right.
besides just being an agent. I know you did a lot of other things also. But the point is that you were successful in doing it. And quite honestly, against all odds, right? Because
Right.
I'm sure there were a lot of people who were betting against you.
Oh, but just goes back to playing basketball.
Right.
There was no Asian person. I call myself Asian, but I'm mixed. But it
Right.
was no Asian person in the basketball world, whether it's
Right.
playing, coaching, or even working for an agent to get players.
Right.
So beyond just go back to what you said, my job was to manage NBA players, but it was really to go get players.
Right.
So I was fortunate, even from being a ball boy to all the way from playing with Stephon and Rafa and all these other guys. I have relationships since we little kids.
Tons of
And
relationships.
yeah, exactly. And I always been, you know me as like you said earlier, cursing people out. I'm straightforward.
I've never met another Eddie Lau. And I can't imagine. You're not manufactured.
Right.
You are exactly who you are, and you've always owned who you are.
Right.
So
Thank
it's
you.
do you feel like you're living up to your purpose?
I definitely do. There's different ways. When I was playing, I was living up to a different purpose. When I was
Right.
working for an agent, I was living up to a different purpose. I think I was pretty successful. And then now, it's a whole different chapter and a whole different purpose that I'm living for. Now I'm more of a dad type,
Right.
trying to give back and help the young kids and hopefully give them a chance.
If you had to name one thing that you're really good at, what are you really good at? Like, what do you think that God blessed you with on this earth? Like, what's the one thing you would have to say?
I mean, there's a lot, but I would say if you say one thing, I think I'm just genuine. Like I'm straightforward. Like if we on the same team, I'm gonna ride and die with you all the way to the end. You know what I mean?
You're loyal.
I'm very loyal, no matter what it is.
I'd have to say your resourcefulness.
Okay.
Like, I think that you always make a way out of no way.
Well, if you say it like that, you have to.
Because I remember one year we went to All-Star. And we went to All-Star, I think Philly or something. I forget which one it was.
We went to a lot of All-Stars together.
We went to so many All-Stars together. But like, I would always end up having another homegirl or somebody needed the ticket. Always. Mm-hmm. And you will always find the ticket. Like,
right.
It was nothing that you, if I could be like, I need a ticket to the moon. You would figure out how to get a ticket to the moon.
Right.
And I've never met anyone, and I probably never told you this,
right.
but it was so inspiring. Because like even now, when like I so admire that quality that when I felt like I found I'm in a puzzle, like this, I'm in a puzzle, I can't figure it out. And I'm like, well, Lau, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
The podcast.
Yes.
And guys, thanks for listening. I know we went a little bit long. We'll probably split this in a few episodes, right?
Yes.
In closing,
right.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Unexpected Success with me, your host, Joy. You can find us on, I can't find my notes. You can find us on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Until then, Lau, keep winning.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And subscribe if you guys like what you're hearing. And leave us a review.
Subscribe.
All right.
And I want a piece of that.
This podcast was brought to you by 23DB Productions, ID Productions, and One of One Productions. For more information, go to Facebook and Instagram, Unexpected Success with Joy.